The story of Fleetwood Mac is one of incredible highs, devastating lows, and drama like you would see on some fictionalised TV show. Actually, there is a new TV show loosely based on the seminal band called Daisy Jones and the Six, a case of art imitating life. But before we get into this episode, you know the drill. Subscribe and like. This episode was suggested by one of you out there, with a shout out and thanks to Christian Free Dude. I'd also like to welcome all of my new subscribers. Thank you for supporting this little channel, and it's great to have you all here with me. What is there to say about Fleetwood Mac that hasn't been already written, analysed, or told? They're a legendary band that have been performing for more than 50 years, and their impact on the musical landscape is simply undeniable. And while the band has always had the backbone of Mick Fleetwood and John McVie in place, many consider the seminal version of the band to include Stevie Nicks, Lindsey Buckingham, and Christine McVie. But that's not to devalue the contributions of all members throughout the history of the band. It's a career that includes 17 studio albums, 18 official band members, and more than 25 touring members, thanks to Wikipedia for that info, Grammy Awards, and more. Now, I'm not going to pretend that what I'm going to cover here is the be-all and end-all. I'm barely going to scratch the surface. But maybe, and hopefully, I can give a little bit of a different insight. And who knows, we might discover something new together. Welcome to Should Have Been on the Album, Request Edition. So straight up, and I'll be honest with you, there's a bit of conflicting information out there, so I'll do my best to get the facts right. But like I said, this is a fly by the seat of your pants background check. So here we go. Fleetwood Mac was formed in London in 1967 by guitarist Peter Green. The band's name is a combination of the surnames of two of its members at the time, Mick Fleetwood, who was on drums, and John McVie on bass. Early iterations of the band included Jeremy Spencer and Danny Kerwin. They released a string of albums in the early years, including Fleetwood Mac, Mr. Wonderful, and Then Play On. Green quit the band in 1970, and Christine McVie, who was married to John, was invited to join the band. Spencer left in 1971, and Green was brought back temporarily. Bob Welch joined the band for a period of time, playing on Future Games and Bare Trees. Kerwin suffered a breakdown in 1972, and the band recruited Bob Weston and vocalist Dave Walker, who would appear on Penguin. However, Walker was fired soon after. Mystery to Me was released in 1973, but Christine and John McVie's marriage was rocky. Weston had an affair with Mick Fleetwood's wife, and a tour to support the album was cancelled. Are you keeping up? Now throw in legal issues, fights over band names, and an almost year-long hiatus. Yep, it's chaotic. So let's jump to late 1974. On New Year's Eve in 1974, Buckingham and Nicks joined the McVies and Fleetwood in the band, bringing a new dynamic with their songwriting and vocal talents. In 1975, they released their 10th studio album, selling over 7 million copies, and the pressure was on to release their follow-up. But internal stresses were taking their toll. The McVies' marriage ended. Nicks and Buckingham's relationship was over, and Fleetwood was in divorce proceedings after having an affair with Nicks. Add drugs and alcohol to the mix, and it wasn't looking good. But in 1977, amongst all of the turmoil, they released Rumours, one of the best-selling albums of all time, with over 40 million copies sold worldwide. It featured iconic hits like Go Your Own Way, Don't Stop, and Dreams. The emotional turbulence inspired many of the album's songs and added an emotional depth to the album. Tusk was released in 1979, but it only sold 4 million copies. Mirage followed in 1982, but soon after the band took a break, focusing on solo pursuits, and not without facing their own personal problems. The classic lineup released Tango in the Night in 1987, but Buckingham left after a disagreement with Fleetwood. A greatest hits album followed, and then the band released Behind the Mask and went on a world tour. However, by 1991, Nicks also left the band. And while the band continued with different members, it was 1997 when the Rumours lineup reformed, releasing the live album The Dance. In 1998, Fleetwood Mac was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And for the next 15 years, the band toured and released albums as various incarnations, with members coming and going on a semi-regular basis. Sadly, on the 30th of November 2022, Christine McVie passed away. When asked about the future of the band in 2023, Fleetwood said, "I think right now, I truly think that the line in the sand has been drawn with the loss of Chris. I'd say we're done, but then we've all said that before. It's sort of unthinkable right now." I know, I've skipped over a lot, but there's just too much to cover in a 10-minute video. But I recommend checking out one of the many Fleetwood Mac biographies like Fleetwood Mac Their Own Way. But for now, let's head back to their biggest selling album, Rumours, and take a good long look at a B-side that was meant to be on the album, but was, to Stevie Nicks' own dismay, left off. The song? Silver Springs. Silver Springs was written by Stevie Nicks during the sessions for Rumours. Far Out website states that the Rumours songwriting period was a purple patch for tracks that dealt with love and hate. With all the turmoil in the band, breakups, divorces, drug and alcohol addiction, the members found much to draw on for inspiration. So abundant were the songs that some had to be cut due to the length restrictions placed on the limitations of the vinyl format, about 45 minutes. When it came to choose which songs to cut, Fleetwood decided that Silver Springs couldn't fit. That decision was met with anger from Nicks, especially when Silver Springs was jettisoned in preference to I Don't Want to Know, which the band liked better and because it was shorter in length. In a 1991 interview, Nicks said, "With a gun to my head, I went out and sung I Don't Want to Know, and they put Silver Springs on the back of Go Your Own Way." The anger of not including Silver Springs would last for many years. Still, the album's co-producer, Richard Dashut, is quoted in saying that Silver Springs is the best song that never made it to a recorded album. Further, another Rumours co-producer, Ken Caillet, thought Silver Springs was one of the best engineered and best produced songs from the sessions. There would be justice for the song and Nicks many years later. Silver Springs would appear on the Chain box set in 1992. But in 1997, a live version of the song was released from the dance and would successfully chart in the US, Canada, and the Netherlands. It was also nominated for a Grammy. Nicks went on to say during an MTV interview in 1997, "My beautiful song just disappeared. For it to come back around like this has really been special to me." Further, it would be included on remastered editions of Rumours, put in the place where it was intended to be. Silver Springs is a breakup song about Nicks and Buckingham, a reflection after their split, and a way for him never to forget her. Nicks says, "I wrote Silver Springs about Lindsay, and we were in Maryland somewhere driving under a freeway sign that said Silver Springs, Maryland. I loved the name. Silver Springs sounded like a pretty fabulous place to me. And you could be my Silver Springs? That's just a whole symbolic thing of what you could have been to me." Silver Springs opens with a wish.
You could be my Silver Spring, blue-green colors flashing. I would be your only dream, your shining autumn ocean crashing.
But the reality of the relationship situation is all too real.
Don't say that she's pretty, and did you say that she loved you? Baby, I don't wanna know.
And Nicks leaves Buckingham with a warning.
You'll never get away from the sound of the woman that loves you.
But for me, the most heartbreaking line is also its simplest.
Was I such a fool?
Musically, Silver Springs starts off with a sense of breeziness, like the windows are open on a car as it's quietly cruising through a small town. The guitars pick but also glide through the opening passages. The picture is painted through the music. There's a longing, a deeper yearning that is revealed throughout the first half of the song. But then there's a dramatic shift in the back section of the song, as Nicks' anger rises to the surface, and it's not hidden anymore. My God, the anger in her voice. Nix's vocal delivery is damn near perfect. Perfect in the vocal breaks, the gasps, and the white-hot delivery. This isn't a breakup ballad anymore. This is a verbal and musical massacre that boils and boils and refuses to relent. And yet, it never boils over. It just sits there, whipping the antagonist again and again. It's said that Silver Springs is one of the greatest breakup songs of all times, and it's hard to disagree. It's a devastating song, full of intensity, sadness, heartbreak, and not without a little spite. So, should Silver Springs have been on the album? Well, that's without a doubt. It's hard to ignore its place in the history of Rumours, but where would it go? Especially when we have to respect the limitations of vinyl. First of all, Rumours is considered one of the greatest albums of all time, a title that can't be denied. 40 million copies says so. Review after review touts it as such too. So to single out one song to be dropped is almost impossible to do. Second, an admission. I've only just listened through the entire album for the first time. Sure, I know the singles, but I didn't really know the album as a fully fledged offering. So in some respects, I've heard it with fresh ears, and that might be an advantage. Or not. Thirdly, whatever I decide, I know I'm going to offend someone out there, and people are going to disagree. Oh well, what can I do? The track listing for Rumours is like looking at a greatest hits list alone. From the 4 singles including Dreams, Don't Stop, Go Your Own Way, and You Make Loving Fun, to the beautiful Songbird and the epic The Chain, plus the powerful closer of Gold Dust Woman. There's so much to take in. So what's left? Secondhand News is a fine opening track, but I wouldn't call it the strongest. It serves a purpose. Never Going Back Again, while short, is fine, but it does seem a little unfinished. Jump to side 2 and you have I Don't Want to Know and Oh Daddy. And I think for me, it's one of these two that would go. The writing of I Don't Want to Know predates the Rumours sessions, and I think it shows. The whole tone of the song is very different to the rest of the album. And while it's undeniably catchy, it feels at odds with the emotional roller coaster that Rumours is. Plus, Nix herself stated that she only recorded the vocals under duress. Oh Daddy is an interesting song, and I don't mind it. There's a haunting nature to it. So, what would go? Okay, I guess I've got to make a call. And that is, I Don't Want to Know. I think Nix was right. Silver Springs should have been on the album instead of this. And I'm not alone on thinking this either. Matt has an opinion, Far Out Magazine, and Louder Sound put it as the least out of a very strong release. Oh Daddy is often at the bottom of lists too, with Consequence.net calling it non-essential, and Fudged Music says that something had to come last. Over on Reddit, fans thought the same. But I think I have to go with dropping I Don't Want to Know. It just seems off. And Silver Springs would have sat nicely after the upbeat and positive You Make Loving Fun. Like I said, Silver Springs isn't a conventional ballad. There's much more emotional charge than that. And perhaps that's the reason why the song wasn't on the original track listing. It's so raw. And maybe side 2 needed something light. But knowing that Nix and Buckingham were at each other's throats while recording the vocals for I Don't Want to Know, well, for me, that makes it all a little bit freaking uncomfortable. In re-releases of Rumours, Silver Springs pops up as either track 6, 7 or 12, depending on the pressing. In any of those positions, the song would have been a perfect fit. But here's 2 final thoughts. It would actually have been possible for the song to have been included on the vinyl. You can fit up to 26 minutes a side on an album if the grooves are smaller and tighter. Yet, an even better solution was to put Never Going Back Again onto side 2, making each side 22 minutes each. It would have left room for the 4:29 edited version of Silver Springs to be included on side 1. I even did the math just to make sure. Yes, Silver Springs would have actually been able to fit on a standard vinyl record if the track listing was different? Did Mick Fleetwood actually get it wrong? What could have been? Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. As always, drop your comments below, and if you have a B-side or a rare track that you think I should check out, please let me know. But until next time, my name is Drew, and you've been watching Should Have Been on the Album. Cheers.